Hi there, Stefan Lindegaard, and getting ready to do another LinkedIn live session. And today I would like to look into the topic of get better at networking and get better at work. And this also very much, in my view, ties into how you actually learn and develop for the future. And I'm going to share three things in particular. I'm going to share a little bit about a framework that I actually saw 12 years ago, like quite much. I'm going to do two exercises. One is about what your network looks like today and how you can make some adjustments and why you should make some adjustments for the future. And then just a very quick one on your traits and capabilities for innovation today. So it's gonna be quite simple. It's gonna be quick, dirty, but I still think you're gonna get some insights out about those about 10, 12 minutes we're gonna spend on this one. First, let me just share this framework I talked about, and this is called How Leaders Create and Use Networks from the article of that one. And they have this element here, which is three forms of networking. And you can see how it's separated into operational, personal, and strategic. And I know the image is not the best, but you still get an idea. And feel free to get in touch if you actually want to get these slides to study them further and the exercises that's following along as well. But it's operational, personal, and strategic. And then you can see it's about purpose, it's about location, and it's about the people, the players in your network, and the attributes on this one. And it shares a little bit that when you need to go in depth and when you need to go more in breadth. So for instance, on the operational things, that's where you go more in depth because you're really trying to get some stuff done. And when you go more towards the personal, but also the strategic one, this is where you need more options and you need to expand a little bit more. So it's a nice little framework that you can work with. And just as a side note on this one, you should always have in mind that people network upwards. So I've been using networks, working more strategically with networks, and I've really tried to build relationships for many years. And I always had first a mindset that, hey, I do this to help. That is priority number one. And that's always been a good thing because it kind of gives you the idea that if you help and hopefully the karma is that things are going to get back to you, and it does often, although I must also say that you can spend too much time on networking, not get anything back. But one thing that's always important to have in mind, people will always network upwards. So if you go to people who are quote unquote more important than yourself, more busy than yourself, you need to have a pretty good pitch and you need to have some pretty good things in mind on why should these people actually spend time with you. And if you go to conferences, if you go to other places where these people interact, where it's kind of like a busy scene where people don't have too much time, have this on mind. They network upwards. So they're trying to find other people who are relevant for themselves and trying to seek upwards. So if you go to people like that, have a pitch prepared, know what you can contribute with, and be quite clear on how you see these people can help you. So this the three forms of networking is something you can look into. It's a pretty cool framework, and I'm gonna share the link to the article in the comments below as well. If we go on and look a little bit on the exercises, this is quite simple. And when you get back home, you want to rewatch this video, you can go in and draw up something like this one, your network today. You can also just send me a message. I'll send you the slides. You can just print them out and do the exercise. Here, it's quite simple because if you look at it this way, you can see there's five boxes for name. And for this one, I would like you to go in and think about five people in your network. And these can be colleagues, it can be friends, families, it can be from all around. But I want you to consider the five people you simply spend the most time with. So the people you spend the most time with in the context of work and career. And put those five names down. And then the second thing we're going to look into is what I call focus. So, what is it that's the most important stuff for you right now? What you're actually spending the most time on today? And also, you can go in when you put the things that you spend the most time on, you can also prioritize them 1 to 5. What is the most important things here? And then you can go in and add some of those things. And just to give you some inspiration, when I do workshops, I always do go around and kind of ask people, so what is it you're working on today? Or some say something around sales, some say something about finance, innovation, more abstract things like leadership, people management, training programs. It can be about legal, it can be about finance, it can be many different things. And as you can see here, I add some things here: IT infrastructure, chain management, special projects. So spend a little time considering what are the things that you work on right now that are really important for you right now, and then you put those five things down there, and then basically you got a simple matrix here. You got a 5 by 5. You got the five people you spend the most time with in the context of work and career, and you got the five things that are most important for you, and preferably rated 1 to 5. And guess what? I mean, the next step is quite simple, right? Because you go in and then you fill out here and you match the people that you have. So, for example, GJK, you see you use him or her in 4 ways. And you go in and just do this with all the five people you have, and then you get a picture like this one. And this is where it actually become interesting, because you got a picture now of what are the most important things for you, and you even prioritize those. And then you start seeing that these are actually the five people you spend the most time with. These are the five people you spend the most time with. But then you can start asking yourself the question, so I spend lots of time with these people, but do they really add value to what I'm trying to get done? In which way do they add value? And you can see here, for instance, that there's someone that's quite valuable. Out of the five things that you work on, it's ticked off on four of them. But there's another one, OLL. What's wrong here? Because it's only one click. Do I maybe spend too much time with this person without getting much value, quote unquote, in this one? Or could it be that yes, I might only just spend time with this person in this particular context, but it's really important, and then it kind of makes sense. But it makes you reflect about the people you spend the most time with, and in the context of your network. And again, remember what I said earlier, it's not only how you network, this is also how you work and how you learn. So it's quite important for you. So you want to go out there and check out some patterns here. And another thing that I noticed here, I noticed that there's one person with 4 clicks here. That person you might be too reliable on, but it's an important person. So you can also ask yourself, what happens if this person disappears in some way, get a new job, move to a new city, something happens? What happens if this person is suddenly not there anymore? Are you vulnerable here? Do you have a backup plan for it? And you also mentioned the leadership, or what you put in column 2, talent management. One of the things you put there, you only have one person that you discuss this with. If this is one of your high priorities and you only have one person there, maybe you need to reconsider, and you need to rethink, how do you get more people involved in this area? So this is just very simple overview of what your network looks like today. But the future is coming fast. So what if you think 3 years ahead? What would change in this context? What would change in this element here? And of course, we're going to do your network future. And the trick here is you keep the same five people. So you have the same 5 by 5 metrics, but you keep the same five people. And then you go in and actually change the focus area. So you spend quite some time thinking about, what are the things that's going to be really important in my work, in my career 3 years from now? And I added some examples here. And what I often see, and when I've done my workshops, after working with them a few hours, we do this exercise, that they are very clear about that you need to consider new approaches on innovation, which my areas and transformation, corporate transformation, and it also has to much higher digital elements around this one. So AI, ML, digital ecosystem, predictive analysis, business analytics in general. You kind of get the understanding that you need to upgrade yourself on these things here. So again, I put in some examples, and that can give you some inspiration. You can also do this with some colleagues, and you can inspire each other what's actually important for you guys here. And yes, you go on and click them in again. And remember, these are the same five people that we had here. So it's the same five people. And now you get a different picture of the people that you spend the most time with today. You looked at it in a context of why do they matter in what you're trying to achieve today? And now we take a 3 year perspective. Why do they matter in the context of what you're trying to achieve for the future? And we get a different picture. So you can see DJK is still very important here. But again, reliability issues. What happens if something happens to this person? But you also notice that you got fewer dots on this one compared than today. And this is quite common because of course, these are new things, and you are not really building your network for new things. That's one of the challenges with many people today. That it's very much about the present and now. And yes, we do mindfulness and all these things, live in the now, live in the present. But we have to be a little bit more careful about our future, prepare for the future, also in the context of how you network and how you learn. So you can start seeing here there's some gaps here. There's some pretty big gaps here, and you need to start thinking, how do I actually work around these gaps here, and how do I make it work in a better way where I have a better balance between today and the near future. 3 years is near future, right? So a quite simple exercise. I use this one quite often, and people like it quite much. It's a good, small, interactive one, quick one too. But I actually have one more very quick exercise for you, and we can just base this one on 7 traits and characteristics for innovation. And I've written down 7 points here. Holistic point of view, ability to construct and handle conflict, and so on. The seventh one is actually the talent for networking and strategic influencing. And again, I mean, this one is very simple. It's very easy. Just go in and look at this one, and then you can look at the 7 points, the 7 traits and characteristics, and then you go in and rate yourself from 1 to 10. And in the best scenario, you get other people to rate yourself too. If you have a coach, that would be a great one, or if you have your team, they can do this too, and you can jot down some notes. And now you got with the network exercise and this traits and capability exercise, very simple ones, but you also got the thinking about the 3 forms of networking in operational, personal, and strategic. Now you can start seeing a picture, and you got some elements here that can use to start thinking, rethinking your network approach, network and learning approach. And it's very simple, but that's actually just what I wanted to share with you today. And well, if you would like to learn more about these things, you can just get in touch. My email's here, and then we are also connected on LinkedIn very easily. So thanks, and I hope this was worth your time. Get in touch if you have any questions and comments. Have a good night.